Greetings and evening to all of you. I am Samantha Powell, otherwise known as Wolfmaid553, and I'm here with my very first theory video. Now, this theory is not going to have a whole lot of editing, because flip that noise, but I'm here to talk about a theory regarding one of my favorite Dungeons & Dragons series, Brony D&D. Now, I love it as much as a certain other YouTuber known as William Baisley. Hey there, by the way. But I'm here to talk about a similarity I noticed between him and two other characters in another Dungeons & Dragons series. Those two characters are Scanlan and Pike from Critical Role. Now, I have this theory running in my head that the similarities aren't really all that coincidental. What does this mean, you may ask? Well, it means that Ivan Windstromer is biologically Scanlan and Pike's child. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's crazy! That makes absolutely no sense! Alatastic and Exodia are in two separate universes. That makes absolutely no sense. Well, I'm here to give you a little bit of evidence to maybe make you say, maybe she does have a point. The first bit of evidence I am here to present is the lack of mention of Ivan's parents. Now, I literally searched every single possible instance where Ivan's parents could be brought up. They weren't mentioned at all. Not even as a throwaway line. Now, you can make the argument that, oh, he's just trying to keep it open-ended. When they were at Ivan's house, that could have been the perfect moment to maybe have a picture of them in the stuff that the douche canoe dragons throw away. But instead, there's none. No mention at all. Not even a documentation. So this leads me to wondering, why wouldn't Ivan mention his parents? What happened to them? And then I got to start noticing the similarities between him and Scanlan. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree with Tiberius on one thing. Scanlan is a bit of a prick. At least before his character development. But I will agree, after his character development, he and Ivan aren't that much different from each other. For one thing, they're both bards. Secondly, they're both fun-loving. And thirdly, they're both considerate of their loved ones. Think about it. Critical Role fans, didn't the moment where Ivan and Amber have relationship troubles kind of remind you of when Scanlan decided to break off the engagement to Pike because he was only in love with the image of her, not her as a person? But I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. Let's start with the genetical similarities. Now, I could go on forever about DNA and genetical charts, but I ain't gonna bore you with that noise. I'm just going to say that I don't know, or at least can't remember, which traits are dominant and recessive. But I do know this. It's highly likely that Scanlan and Pike's child will have blonde hair and blue eyes. That's a high probability. Wouldn't it character who's blue-eyed and blonde-haired to be descended from them. Now, this also ties into another... Now, big question. How did Ivan go from Exodia to Alatastica? Now, for that, I need to talk about another theory I had in mind. It was the Tiberius survived Draconia's destruction theory, which I will put in the description down below. Or at least when you're watching this, I have put it in the description down below if I didn't get a brain fart or something. It talks about the possibility that his family and or him may have faked his own death to protect him, which actually ties back to this theory in one of the two probabilities I've come up. The first probability is that simply Scanlan and Pike put him there for his own protection. Maybe a villain threatened them, and the only course of action was to put Ivan somewhere where he could be safe. And what better place could there be than a place where gods pretty much live? If 24/7, it'd be the perfect protection for him. And, well, it's more likely of the two theories, and more likely to be canon. The second probability ties in with the theory. And this is one I don't really want to talk about, but it's also a probability. Something really bad happened to Pike and Scanlan. Maybe a villain got to them. Maybe financial ruin caused them to be forced to give him up. Or maybe an accident occurred. But for some reason, Pike and Scanlan aren't in the picture anymore. And Ivan had to be put somewhere where he was safe. Who better to place him than the one with the second most connections? And the one who probably isn't tied to any destiny anymore. Tiberius. The one who the entire world believes he's dead. Who better to find a place to put their son? Who better? Now, this other possibility may also tie into why Ivan doesn't seem scared of dragons. I mean, yeah, he may have encountered dragons in the past, but we never got a mention of it. The only dragons he seemed to have interacted with was that green dragon whose name I forgot, who got killed off by Simula, and Amber, who he fell in love with. Maybe this is just me looking into things, but maybe Ivan's lack of fear regarding dragons, maybe it was subconsciously caused by Tiberius taking him to the city when he was a little known baby, or even a tiny bit older than that. But if that were true, what would the ramifications be for Ivan? A lot. If this were true, this would create a big link between Alatastica and Tel'Dorai. Not only that, but it would create a lot of ramifications for Ivan if he was to ever discover his parentage. Quite simply, his near death at the hands of Ravus could have been an opportunity for him to learn. Think about it. Vax'ildan became the permanent champion of the Raven Queen. Now, he would probably want to escort his loved ones to the afterlife. Who better to escort to the afterlife than the child of one of his good friends, or two of his good friends. We don't really know if he was on good terms with Scanlan, but we do know he was on good terms with Pike. So there's a high probability he may have tried to bring Ivan to the afterlife before the resurrection ritual happened. But thing is, Ivan never really talked about what happened when he was dying. So it's a high probability that to Ivan, it was just a blank blur. But to Vax'ildan, it was a chance to see the son of two of his friends nearly die. That kind of stuff would scare Vax. Knowing that there are evils out there, that would scare him. So it's a high probability he's watching over Ivan as we speak. Maybe Tiberius is watching him as well. Maybe from the shadows. Keeping him safe. For all we know, he could be the reason that Ivan ended up getting his loot. I mean, for all we know, he could be the reason Ivan was led to the tree that gave him the materials he uses to create the loot. For all we know. But, for all we know, there could also be some villains seeking to hurt Ivan due to his connections. And if those connections were to show up, let's just say the rest of the party are going to be in for an unexpected shock. Especially if resurrected villains come back. But, hey, this is just a theory of mine. Well, actually, two theories that I sort of semi-combined into one, with one benefiting from the other. But anyway, this is just my theory. Take every theory with a grain of salt. I have. See you guys next time.